After 18 videos, after months and months and months and months of training, the first video was March 3rd of 2025. We've reached the end. There's going to be no more of the Road to 1000 series. By the end of this video, we're going to find out why. So before we get into the meat of the matter, I want to go over our second testing period. So for those of you that don't know, I'm running a 4-week cycle, 5-week, the 5th week is the deload, sorry. And then my 6th week, we're doing a prep day to get ready for heavy, taking 3 days off, and then doing testing. The first set of testing got us right up to, I think it's like 9:35 or 9:45. You can look back through the history of the 1000 series and you'll find that video in there. We were quite a bit off, and a lot of that had to do with an injured deadlift. This cycle, it felt like the squatting was my problem. Squatting just felt off. Depth didn't feel quite right. It was the lift I was the most worried about. I made some changes. I went to doing a bell squat one of my squatting days rather than being under the barbell. I thought I had some form leak because of that. Going into this, it didn't quite feel right. Long story short, my first attempt I took at 335. So 335, I mean, the unrack was pretty confident. It didn't feel too bad on my back. I did do this for a single on my testing day, on my heavy prep day, and that went pretty good. Depth was good, sticking point in the middle, but it came up pretty okay, in my opinion. The second squat really surprised me. So the second squat, I went ahead and just went for the moon. I wanted 335 because that would put me in a really good spot for bench and for deadlift. And I knew that deadlift, obviously with the injured back, that lift is still not quite as far ahead as these other lifts, I don't think. I really wanted to give myself the room in that first lift to hopefully give me a lighter number to finish with so that I could hit that 1000 mark. So I went to 355. Walking out, it felt heavy. Coming down, it felt quite light. And when I hit the sticking point right here, I was surprisingly confident that that lift was going to go, and it did. It did go up. And I thought the depth on it was quite good too. So really good showing from the squat. Thank goodness for that. Bench press was an adventure. So bench press, we opened up with 225. 225 with a pause was very easy. If you guys have me on my Instagram, you've seen me do it for 4, so that's not surprising. For my second lift, I went quite a bit heavier, and I went up to 245. 245, actually the first time I missed because my brother, who was a little inexperienced, grabbed the bar a little too early. The bar was still traveling up. He got nervous, he grabbed it. I don't have that video. But I do have the video of me reattempting the 245, and that went quite smooth. It felt okay. It was a very decent lift. I didn't feel like it had much left to be desired. The form was decent. I thought it moved okay. It felt fine in my hands. I wasn't perplexed by that lift very much at all. But I did feel pretty fatigued by my missing it the first time. So in a meet, if spotters grab the bar early, you'll usually get an extra attempt to make up for the flub. So I took the extra attempt, and ideally I wanted to go for 255, again, to give myself as much room in that deadlift as possible. I wasn't quite sure 255 was going to be there. I knew if I needed to do 395 on the deadlift, I could pull it off. So I decided to drop back 5 pounds. We did 250 for the third attempt. I thought 250 moved quite well. I think in the bottom, I might have dipped a little into my chest. That's really my only picky critique on this lift, but other than that, it moved up consistently. I didn't see any downward movement. It locked out, and I think it was a good showing. Now, the deadlift is something that I was quite surprised by. So on my Monday, I pulled 385, and it was horrible. I hitched the crap out of it. It did not feel good in my hands at all. I was really worried about the deadlift going into this. But I figured with 3 days rest, I could probably get an ugly 395 if I really wanted to. Well, I took my first attempt, and my first attempt at 365 moved so easy that it felt like 315. It didn't feel any different to me off the floor and at lockout than 315 did when I was rolling up. So I decided I have 2 attempts remaining to break the 1,000. I could go conservative and hit the 395, but I felt so good that a part of me knew there was a really good shot there at 405. So we put 405 on the bar, and I thought, well, at least if I screw 405 in that second attempt, I should have enough gas in the tank to cut back and go back to the 395 and just hit that 1,000 square. Well, to my surprise, 405 went, and not only did 405 go, 405 moved almost without a sticking point. I might have been a little forward on it, but I thought it was a very respectable showing. For those of you that are good at math, you already know why this is the last video in the series. And that reason is, there is no more Road to 1,000, because we hit 1,010 pounds this testing period. This took me all of March, all of April, all of May, all of June, and 2 weeks of July to achieve. Keeping in mind I already had a decent base of strength. I've done a decent amount of deadlifting and squatting in the past for my rock climbing training. For those of you that don't know, I used to be a sponsored rock climber. Now, transitioning into powerlifting, having that base I think really helped. I think the average person trying to hit 1,000 going into the gym without any training experience is not going to do it in the 3 or 4 month period that I did. But I'm so stoked that this happened. The hope is to do my first powerlifting meet in either April or May of next year. My initial goal is to try to hit at least 1,100 for my total, and I think we're going to be well above that by the time we get to April or May. So my plan from here, I've put together a 2.0 version of my plan. There's a few things that I think are weaknesses for me that I'm going to try to address. Core strength being one of them. The other thing is adductor and abductor strength, mostly the abductor. Glutes are a hell of a thing when you're trying to squat deep, and I just don't feel like my glute meat is there. So that's one of the things we're going to work towards. Lots of core training so I can brace better. And other than that, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's working. Until I start seeing these lifts drop off and, we're hitting 5-pound PRs instead of 15 or 25-pound PRs, I don't see a reason to change anything. Being fully recovered after this week, even after that kind of mini meet day where I did those 3 lifts, I feel fine. I feel well recovered. My elbows are good, my knees are good, my ankles are good. My lower back feels fine. So we're going to keep on keeping on, and I think we had a really good showing. It's been a long road. I'm glad you guys are here. The next series that we're going to start up, and every video from here on is going to go into that series, will be our road to the first meet. And that road to the first meet is going to guide us all the way into April or May of next year. When a meet in the APU pops up in that April or May period, I'm going to register, and we're going to cap that off with our very first powerlifting meet. Thanks for checking in, guys. For those of you that have been following along from the beginning, thanks for following along. It's been a hell of a road, and I think we've gotten really, really good results from what we've been doing. We've gone really far. A lot of committed, consistent effort to get here, and I couldn't be happier with where we are. That day could have gone very differently, but for whatever reason, God was on our side that day. Please, like, follow, comment, keep tabs on our following videos. This is just the beginning. We're not even a year in. I think we have a future of a 1,200 pound total by meet day, maybe even a 1,300 pound total. I think if I continue to train consistently, a 315 bench is really not that far away. So we're going to start getting some really cool numbers going. And the fun part of it for me is if anybody ever clicks on those videos when we do end up at our first meet and we end up putting up a 1,300 pound total, or who knows, maybe a 1,400 pound total in the future at our second or third meet, we're gonna have this backlog of sweat and tears and bloody shins to show what it took. And that makes me so happy. Much love, guys. Again, please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment below, and we will see you on our next training video.